In this video, I'll share with you a 10-step goal-setting formula that will help you transform your ideas into goals so you can make them come through. As a creator, I am very creative, so I think a lot, I think too much. I have many ideas constantly popping in my head, and because of that, I often get distracted. I tend to jump from one idea to another and have difficulty finishing whatever I start. Projects that are supposed to take a few weeks often take months, while others are simply abandoned along the way. I believe this is the reality for many creators and dreamers. The problem with us highly creative people is that we commonly have difficulty making our ideas happen. We often lack structure, organization, and planning. The word planning used to bore me to hell until one day when I realized that my lack of it was keeping me stuck and preventing me from living my dream. I eventually realized that I could be a creator and a dreamer and still have a plan. Dreamers don't have to be drifters. I finally understood that goal setting is the bridge between an idea and its achievement. It's the bridge between creativity and action. It's what allows a dream or an idea to come through. And that's when I fell in love with goal setting and planning. If you'd like, you can pick one goal, one that's important to you, and do the exercise as you watch this video. So the first step is to be clear on what you want. Clarity is the foundation for all the other steps. You want to state exactly what you want, so your goal, clear enough that you could explain it to a 6-year-old. You also want to be specific, so make your goal measurable and set a deadline. For example, you could say, I want to lose 15 pounds by February 1st. Then you transform it into a positive statement in the present tense. For example, I am at my ideal weight of X pounds by February 1st. That's because the words I want emphasizes that you don't have what you want, that you haven't attained your goal, that something is lacking. I am stipulates that you've already achieved it. It makes the attainment of your goal more believable to your subconscious mind and helps reducing any resistance that you could otherwise experience. Then you want to define why this goal is important to you. The reason why you want something is the fuel that motivates you to move forward and keep going even when it's difficult or when you don't feel like it. Being clear on the reasons behind your goal will help you be disciplined and will reduce the chances that you'll procrastinate on the important tasks that need to get done. Next, if you haven't done it yet, make sure to write your goal down. Studies on goal setting have shown that we are 42% more likely to achieve our goals if we write them down. Personally, I have my most important goal written on a magnetic whiteboard that's on my fridge. Then you brainstorm all the ways you could achieve your goal. There's usually more than one path to attaining a goal. For example, one of my goals for this year is to replace my salary with the sales of my own products. When I did this exercise myself, I realized that to attain my goal of making enough income to live off the sales of my products, I needed two main things: a product and buyers. Knowing that, I brainstormed possibilities for each of these two things. I made a list of potential products I could sell and a list of ways I could find buyers. Then I went deeper. For example, I listed all the ways I could think of for building an email list. For example, guest blogging, posting videos on YouTube, etc. In step 5, you organize the items on your list in order of importance. The most important item is the one that will have the biggest impact, the one that will move you toward your goal faster. For example, I started this YouTube channel because I love making videos. But is it the one thing that will help me attain my goal of having a profitable business faster? No, YouTube is usually a very long journey. So by knowing that, I consider my channel as a hobby/potential business in the future. And therefore, it's not my most important activity for building my business. Not right now. It's simply because it's not the one that will help me attain my goal faster. Some better, more efficient options would be to use existing marketplaces to sell my products, also do guest blogging to build an email list. So once you've put the items on your list in order of importance, go through the list from the most to the least important and mark those that are more appealing to you. What feels right? It's important that you enjoy the journey, the process towards your goal. For example, even if Facebook advertising is a proven and effective way to build an email list, it's not something that I am interested in doing. Therefore, I chose something else. I recently made a video about how to use our intuition to make better choices and why it's important that we do so. So I'll link the video in the description below. Next, you want to make a list of everything you can think of that you'll have to do or learn to attain your goal based on your chosen path. Then organize the items on that list by sequence and priority. A sequence is what you must do before you do something else. As for a priority, it refers to the activity that will move you toward your goal faster. The 80-20 rule or Pareto principle stipulates that roughly 80% of any result, for example, the attainment of your goal, comes from 20% of the input, for example, the actions that you take. So your priority, it's the biggest impact task. It's the 20% of your inputs. Next, if you've been working on a goal for some time and don't see much result, it can be useful to reflect on why you haven't attained your goal yet. Is it the lack of time or motivation? Is it fear, self-doubt, the imposter syndrome, perhaps just laziness? When I asked myself this question, why haven't I attained my goal yet, after having worked on it for over 2 years, I realized that I didn't even have a product to sell. I also hadn't made any effort to find buyers or build an email list. And since I had defined in step 4 of this exercise that what I needed to achieve my goal were 1, a product, and 2, buyers, and since I had neither of those, the answer to why I hadn't attained my goal yet became pretty obvious. It's crazy how obvious it is when you look at it this way, and it's also obvious when you look at someone else's life. But when it's our own life, we often fail to see the obvious. Now it's time to plan. Write down what you will do in the next year, 6 months, month, and week to move toward and attain your goal. For example, if I had defined that the most important activity to attain my goal was to build an email list, and if I had chosen to do guest blogging, for the next 6 months, I would probably be submitting articles to large publications. This month, I would submit articles to smaller publications. This week, I could make a list of small publications that share my target audience and look at their guidelines for submitting articles. And tomorrow, my most important task could be to find 4 publications that accept guest bloggers. What I do is on the 1st of each month, I plan the month ahead and define my most important tasks for the month. Every Sunday, I plan the week ahead and schedule some of those tasks. And every evening, I scheduled 1 to 3 of my most important tasks for the following day. Doing this has helped me stay focused and on track and avoid procrastination because I always know exactly what I should be working on to move toward my goal. And step 10 is to make sure that you read your goal statements often. As I said, I wrote mine on a magnetic whiteboard on my fridge, and I read it every morning when I wake up and every evening before going to bed. I've also written the reasons why my goal is important to me in a notebook and read them often. This way, I'm continually reminded of the positive impact that achieving that goal will have on my life and of the negative consequences of not pursuing it. Here's a bonus step that will accelerate your progress. I recommend that you visualize your goal daily. I've made a video about the neuroscience of how and why visualization works and how to visualize more effectively. I'll link that video in the description down below. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know by giving it a thumbs up. You can also subscribe to this channel for weekly videos similar to this one. Have a beautiful day, and I'll see you next week for another video.